It's being recorded. Okay, okay.
I got to notice that it's being recorded, Linda, so everything's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I saw that. We don't even have all of our staff here. Our board members, I mean. Let's see.
I think we got enough of us. Do you want to get started?
Well, I was hoping that there'd be some more of our board members here. Sita's not here. Susan's not going to be here. So maybe we don't need to wait anymore. Eric, you're here. Well, maybe, yeah. We'll go ahead and start. All right. My name is Linda Locke, President of the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council. Hi, David. I see you're here today. Are you going to speak tonight or your rep?
I think probably me. I'm actually going to be on transit, so when it's my turn, I'll just unmute myself, but I can't get on video until I get home.
That's okay. That's great. I'm glad you're here. And I see Captain Sanchez is here. Good evening, Captain. We have questions for you, so be ready.
Good evening. Will do.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to remind us, last month we had the St. Victor's Boy Scouts Honor Guard that presented the colors for us in commemoration of the 9/11, and I thought they just did a great job. So it was really exciting to have them there, and it's good for us to think about what's going on in this world anyway. So very happy that they were able to join us. Hi, Tim. I see you're here. You're speaking on behalf. Do I have you down? Yeah. Assemblyman Alex Lee, right?
Correct. Thank you.
All right. And Ty, did you send out the minutes for the meeting?
I did not. I just realized that. And so I'm going to have to send them out electronically after the meeting.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I was searching. I thought, what did I do with them now? I'm always.
It was just your silly secretary.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you, sir. So we'll send those out electronically for you. And treasurer's report, I do have that from Susan. She is out of town. In fact, she said she's probably on the plane on the way home, but so she couldn't be here. So this is the beginning balance as of September 30th in our regular general account, $2,310.70. Can you say this? 26 cents. And we had some income, various things for income. We had an ending balance as of September 30th. So she's only giving us as she gets the statements from the bank at the end of the month. So the ending balance, because we had children's giveaway prizes at the event that we had, and food purchases and printing and Zoom services, and we gave some money. Donated some money to the band for their wonderful music at our event and food purchases. So we ended up with the ending balance of $1,504.41. Good grief, I can't even say the numbers. City of San Jose District 4 grant that we got. We had at the beginning of the month, $7,038, and that was nothing was spent yet, so it's still $7,038. We didn't have any expenditures this month yet. The San Jose Beautify Grant Cycle 5, we received $5,000, and we're working on it. Ty is working. I see we, but it's all Ty, trying to get connections and get that taken care of. So the grant is still in progress, and we will be doing something. And we still have the money from Not a Noble Charter. Beginning balance was $7,456.96, and it remains the same. We have not done anything with that yet. Okay, so that is for Susan and Treasurer's report.
Might I add a couple of things, Linda?
Oh, okay.
One of the things that we're waiting for is reimbursement, actually waiting for funds to be transferred to the UNSCC on behalf of the BCAC. We have not received them quite yet. We have submitted all the paperwork and documentation to facilitate that transfer, but we have city Santa Clara County grant of $500 coming our way for our 50th celebration, and another $500 from the city of San Jose. And once those funds are received, they'll be moved. I'll send a check from the UNSCC to Susan for deposit into our accounts as the donations from our political leaders when they helped us recognize the 50-year accomplishment of our organization. So, thank you to Otto Lee. Thank you to David Cohen.
Okay, great. I'll put that as a reminder for us, for Susan to look for that when she gets back. All right. So we're zipping right along. We do not have a guest speaker tonight, so we were allowing for the law enforcement to speak tonight and the officials. So we're trying to give you plenty of time to answer questions or give out reports that you need to do. So the police report from San Jose Police Department, Captain Brandon Sanchez, you are up, sir.
Thank you, Linda. How are you?
I'm good.
It's good to see everybody on the Zoom tonight. Mr. Santos, I love your background, whatever that is. It's pretty cool. Is that the San Jose Water, the water company, water district
Yeah.
symbol? It's nice.
Yes.
Or America's Got Talent, either one.
Well, I'll get to basically to the nitty-gritty, what everybody really wants to talk about. Because really, aside from what I'm about to talk about, everything else is going pretty well, other than traffic. Councilmember and I, we talk about the traffic being an issue quite a lot, and trying to get motors to be out there and be a lot more highly visible in those areas that we're concerned with, especially Mr. Santos, your area up there. But really what I know everyone's concerned about is the incident at the park behind the community center. So what I can tell you is both myself in the Bureau of Field Operations and the investigative unit in our investigations unit have taken that incident very seriously. We've thrown a lot of resources at it. On the patrol side, on the BFO side, I've basically reallocated all my walking beats to have high visibility at the park, both for, giving some sense of calmness to the situation and to show that we're out there. But second, also for deterrence, right? We want to be able to deter anything that's any other further actions that's happening. Along with that, I've been liaisoning with our special operations unit. So we've had a lot of plainclothes officers out there as well. So although may not be as highly visible to the general public, a lot of plainclothes officers are out there and have been out there since I've been made aware of it, of the incident. I've been liaisoning with our Bureau of Investigations, our assaults unit, and they've been keeping me apprised of everything that they're doing, every piece of investigative techniques that they can use. I can tell you that they're probably some of the best in the nation. I mean, they've worked on 3 cases recently that have made national news, all of which had very little kind of leads in the beginning that they developed in time, and they were able to solve all 3 of them, to include the Home Depot that was burned down on the southern part of the city, to our Red Ryder case where he was assaulting a lot of females throughout the city. And then we had a guy who was making a lot of kind of makeshift bombs. All of those were taken on by this unit. So I have no doubt that they will do a great job, and they're doing a great job as we speak, turning over every stone. The hard part is we don't have a lot of investigative leads. We have a lot of loose descriptions of the guy, but we don't have anyone that can really identify what the suspect looks like in a manner that will help us ID him in court or for prosecution. So they're using other investigative techniques to try to drum up some leads. They've done an extensive canvass out there in the neighborhood, looking for video, talking to neighbors, seeing if there's been any surveillance video nearby to be able to help develop some of those leads. But I spoke to the commander and the captain this evening, and they've told me that they're working very diligently on some of the small leads that they've developed. And there are some other grander kind of techniques that are in the works right now in the background. But because it's an ongoing investigation, a lot of those techniques I can't share, but I can tell you that we're moving in a good direction. And you know, with our officers out there every day, and with liaisoning with the council office and the DA's office, I know that we'll come to a resolution here soon. We just need a little bit of time to try to gather some of those facts and some of those evidentiary things that we need for court. But with that, I know there's several questions, so I'll open the floor to those questions. I can maybe drill down on some of the specific questions you may have.
If you have a question, raise your hand. I'll see if I can see it.
I
Hopefully.
don't know how to raise my hand.
But say your name, that will help.
Mary Larson.
Hi, Mary.
Go ahead, Mary.
Hello. I was at the last meeting, and one of the officers talked about your flock system with the cameras. And I'd like to know how we go about in our neighborhood watch of getting signed up for that. What number do we contact, or who do we contact about getting cameras signed up for the flock system?
That's a great question, Mary. So I think there's two different camera programs that the police department is involved in. One is a registry program where people who have existing home security cameras can register them through the police department. So when incidents like this happens, the investigators, instead of spending hours out there knocking on doors and looking for people who have surveillance cameras, they can go to the software system, see who has cameras already in existence, and then call you and see if you have evidence, video evidence that would be advantageous for us, and whether or not you'd be willing to share that. It saves us some resource time and allows us to focus more on the actual investigative side of the house. That's one. The flock system is a license plate reader system. And what that does is it allows the police department to work with Flock, which is the vendor. And the city has currently bought a lot of Flock cameras, and we placed them in places in the city. We're just going through another procurement to roll out some more that we bought from Flock. The idea is to pretty much put Flock in a lot of the areas of the city of ingress and egress, or of areas of that are advantageous to us, like areas right outside the malls, certain intersections for sideshow stuff. But those are license plate readers. So Flock would help in this neighborhood, but only if the perpetrator had a vehicle that we knew of. That was where Flock would help us. Flock does stuff with government agencies like the police department, but they also have Flock cameras that HOAs or various different civilian organizations can purchase for themselves as a group, that would also be integrated into our existing Flock system.
So how would we go about registering cameras, number
Okay.
one, and then number two, how would our group, our neighborhood watch group, if we were interested in purchasing, would we talk to someone specific or just to you?
Another great question. So the way that we can register cameras is on our next meeting, or I can forward the flyer to Linda after this meeting, because I don't have it currently. I have to get it from the deputy chief who runs the program. There's a way that you can sign up for it, both through this website that I'm going to share with you and the group, or if I were to come out in person, I could sign you up with that as well. Crime prevention does a lot of in-person sign up sessions. That's the first way for your first question. The second question is for ALPR. I can have, and I think I've been working with Mr. Kraus, Mike Kraus. I've been trying to get them connected with the vendor for Flock to come out to do a presentation. So that way he can answer questions about privacy and some of the other infrastructure questions that may come up that are specific to Flock. But essentially, it would be through the introduction I would give to, say, BCAC and the vendor, and let you guys kind of work directly with them, so that way he can provide you with all the material you need, answer any questions, and then give you a price point for whatever it is you're looking for.
Okay,
Thank you. Rastana, I see your hand is up.
Yes, thank you. Hello, officer.
Hello.
I don't know if I missed your initial part when you were reporting about this incident. I thought there was a witness who saw this happen right in front of her. I read about it in the Penitentiary Neighborhood Association website. And I'm kind of a little startled that there's no information, and there's not many alternatives to find this person. That's very concerning to me. What measures will the police take to at least prevent some of this? In the last few years, I've been reading about how people have experienced people snatching cell phones while they were walking in this neighborhood. So I feel like it's escalated now into a stabbing. So I hope you'll do something to send a message that this area is being watched. I live very close to this park.
Yeah, great question. What you missed is when I talked about in the beginning,
Yeah.
I've reallocated a lot of resources out there already. So we've had a lot of high visibility patrol out there, both uniformed, and I've leveraged our special operations people who are working in an undercover capacity to be at the park every single day since I was made aware of the incident. That in regards to the witness was able to provide a general description of the person in regards to clothing, but not in identity, enough to provide, say, a sketch, or if they saw them again, to be able to recognize them in a manner that we need for court. So we're trying to do as much investigative work on our side to try to develop other leads to be able to identify the person.
We also heard tonight from one of our members a little earlier before we started the meeting that she saw a patrol car come actually onto the park and drive around the park. So you certainly are making sure that the police are being recognized and being concerned about the park itself. So
Thank you both. Thank you for that.
okay. Dick, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Linda. Captain Sanchez, welcome as always. Appreciate the service, appreciate all the police officers that work. Being on the retirement board, I'm very aware of the many retirements, and of course, lack of hiring. It's no question. It was too bad we can't say thank you, but we always want something because it's vital. I've asked David Cohen, I've asked Otto Lee, supplies for street lights up here in Sierra Road, and that has not been done. I still do not see San Jose Sheriff's Department, nor do I see HP. I appreciate your concern because you've talked to me about it and so on, but they hit the mailboxes again. My neighbor, they just drove up, parked their cars, went inside there in the swimming pool area, stole his fruit and everything. Luckily, he did call when he came home, and I believe Sheriff's Department came up and they took action. But it's getting pretty tough up here, but it's tough all over. I understand that. It's not a complainer. The drugs, the stolen vehicles coming way up here to Vista Ridge, and getting rid of it needs visibility. And that's the hardest thing. And I know you guys are swamped. Everybody wants you, of course. And if we don't have visibility, it's not about the tickets. It's being visible to stop some of this crazy driving, because you can't come out of your driveways when somebody's coming up 50 and 60 miles an hour with the blinding hills that prevent us. So anyway, we appreciate what you do. I want you to make sure that we care about y'all and be safe.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. I know up there it's tough, right? Anyway, I've been up there. We've talked, and you're definitely in a place that is difficult, right? I mean, they come down that hill at speeds that are not supposed to be that high. They have no regard for anyone who lives in the area. It's very frustrating. I would be uber frustrated if I were you guys, as you guys are. But that being said, you're still always in the back of my mind. Every time I can, I try to send someone up there. But to your point, we are for every 2 steps forward we take one step back in retirements. I mean, even my class this month is coming up on 25 years. So people who are from my class who are, you know, over 50, my class was about 40 people strong, and so we're losing quite a bit of them this year. And we're only getting sometimes academies of like 18 to 25. However, there is a little bit of light in the tunnel. I mean, the prior captain, Captain Trayer, as diligent as he is and was with you guys, he's leading the charge over background and recruiting right now. And he tells me we have bigger numbers now since he's taken over than we've had in a very long time. So that gives me some hope that we'll turn the page eventually here, but we'll at least make some strides in the right direction for staffing.
Sita had her hand up. Go ahead, Sita. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Myself.
There
There we
you-
go.
Mhm.
I have never read anywhere. Do you know what precipitated the attack?
No, that is really the mystery for us. The path, there's no real rhyme or reason or pattern that we can find so far. That's what's making it very frustrating for us. Because you would lead some people to believe that maybe it was opportunity, maybe it was it's really hard to say. That's the frustrating piece. I don't want to speculate too much because I don't want to plant any seeds in anyone's mind, but we try to just be objective and look at the facts and let those facts drive us. But right now, it's a little bit of a mystery.
Thank you.
Jay, I don't know how to say your name. Jay, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Luck. Yeah, it's Jay.
Jay.
So, yeah, thank you for the updates, Captain Sanchez. I just want to, bring your attention to the petty crimes, basically what Mr. Santos described, all those mail thefts and all those things. I know it's not on the PD's radar, pretty much, but it's, I like to think all the things that all those petty crimes that have been ignored is leading to bigger crimes like stabbing and things like that. We are taking whatever safety precautions that the PD has advised us to put cameras, put lights and things like that. I've gotten hit 4 times in the past year, twice within the past 4 months. My tires were slashed, my license plate was stolen, my mail has been stolen, and it at some point it feels like we are on our own because the last time I called 911 for something, I was on hold for like 15 minutes and I hung up because there was no response. So, it's very demoralizing. And I think as a community, we should wake up before it's too late because people will start pushing back at some point and it'll get really messy really fast. So I'd suggest, put a task force or whatever it is. I don't know, I'm just throwing out ideas, but take these things, these petty crimes more seriously and before it becomes something big like a stabbing or something like that. So that's what I just wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Now I appreciate it. It breaks my heart. I mean, kind of like what we were talking about with Mr. Santos. I mean, when I first came on here, we had 1,450 officers. We could do a lot of things with them. We had special teams just to address, some of these property crime issues and some of these minor crimes. And we were the safest large city in the country for several years running because of that. With our staffing levels at where they're at now, it's very difficult to provide the same level of service that we once did, which breaks my heart because every community I go to, every community meeting I go to or I'm on, it's not the big crime that people worry about. I mean, of course they do. But it's these things. It's really the quality of life issues that really affect everybody and makes people feel unsafe. And it's hard for me to hear that because I'm used to, having grown up in this organization for 25 years, being able to be a fixer and a solver and be able to throw resources at that and solve it. And it's getting harder and harder to do that. And so part of why we ask our communities to put up cameras and alarm systems and make sure that they're on is because we have to be one big team. We have to help each other and leverage ourselves as our own resources because there are fewer of us now than there once was. So your concerns, Jay, are not unheard. I hear you, and I'm right there with you. And it's frustrating, but again, I don't know when these issues are happening unless you tell me. So like for the mailboxes that Mr. Santos talked about, for your tires being slashed, I'm not sure, Jay, where you live, but maybe you can throw it in the chat. And when I get done kind of with this higher priority of the park and the area, I can try to reshift some resources out there during the times that we think that they're happening and do our best to try to capture some of the perpetrators.
Thank you.
Katie, did I see your hand up? Katie? Where are you? Katie, are you there? Maybe not. Okay, it made it up. I see a hand. Rika?
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for this session. It's been very useful, and thank you, Captain Sanchez, for the update. My question is, how safe is it now to go back to that park? I was there a couple of weeks ago on a weekend walking and during daytime. And my question is, what do we do? Can we carry pepper spray and alarm and things like that? I also walk at the park by Maybury and Jackson, and there also I saw a car with broken windows last week, and there also it feels very unsafe to even walk. So, I mean, we are taxpayers paying for this, and we are not able to go out for a walk. So I would like to know what we can do, and I really appreciate all of the effort that the police officers put into this. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. So I'll always start with, wherever you go, whether it's a park, the mall, walking your dog just down the street in the neighborhood, to always be aware of your surroundings. Always keep your head on a swivel, always be aware of walking in well-lit areas. If it's the broken cars, not leaving valuables in your car for crimes of opportunity. Maybe use the buddy system if you're walking in the park during, say, dark hours or darkness. Those are all things that no matter what is happening will always be a force multiplier for your safety. The park is especially with the amount of officers I have deployed there, both in a overt capacity in uniform and marked cars, and in a covert capacity undercover. The park is going to be monitored, and as long as you stick to keeping aware of your surroundings and being aware of what's around you, then it should be as safe as anywhere else in the city. Now, can you carry pepper spray? Yes. Can you carry an alarm? One of those alarms that I've seen people have that are very loud? Yes, I would recommend those, just like I would recommend them to anybody to go anywhere. Those are great tools to have in your toolbox, for lack of a better way of explaining it. But it really comes down to just maintaining your own personal safety as well. I still walk my dogs, and I go out at night or in parks, and maybe it's just the cop in me, but I'm always keep my head in the swivel, and I'm always watching my surroundings, and knock on wood, I've been lucky, but there is always going to be a small level of danger no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Lorraine, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah,
James.
this is Lorraine.
Lorraine, Lorraine, your voice sounds different. Okay, go ahead.
We have to admit to the fact that we watch a lot of these British crime dramas, and it seems like every time the police are kind of stuck with identifying somebody or trying to figure out exactly what happened, they always ask, hey, has anybody checked the CCTV? And I'm just curious, do we have something, maybe either, is it financial or privacy rules or anything that prevents us from having more of this CCTV, for example, along the trail in the park that would, would have shown you a video of the incident? And that's basically my question.
Sure. Those crime dramas are Hollywood. I'll start with that. I'd love to live in a world where we could take a piece of evidence to the crime lab and we get it turned back in an hour. But really, to all things being equal, I think really what it comes down to is dollars and cents. A lot of the infrastructure that it would take to outfit the city with cameras in all the parks in the city or different areas that are heavily traversed by the public is going to cost a lot of money. I think the city has taken big strides in the privacy debate, because there was a time where cameras were a non-starter. And I think with the advent of technology and really understanding how many cameras are really out there with phones and everything else, I think people's outlook on cameras and quote unquote Big Brother has shifted a little bit. But I think what it comes down to is dollars and cents, and the city having the money, or private entities, if it's a private park or a private driveway to a business, having the money to install those cameras.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, do you have anything else to talk about, Captain Sanchez, besides the park stuff? Okay. Anything else going on in Berryessa that we should know, or anything great happening in our area? Captain Sanchez?
I'm sorry, I was reading something in the chat. What was the question?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I know. I see that there was a couple messages to you. Yeah, I just want to know if you had anything else you wanted to report to us. So
No, I think luckily, by and large, with the exception of this incident, crime over there, other than some of the quality of life issue crimes, are pretty good. Other than traffic tends to be the biggest thing that jumps off the page every time to me when I look at the area, but that's every area I look at. But the council member and I are working hard on trying to get some of the roads resurveyed for radar and LiDAR enforcement, and I'm trying to get our motors officers out here to have some more larger presence out here, and then doing whatever I can to try to adjust resources for the quality of life issues. But by and large, knock on wood, I don't like to say it because it puts it out in the universe, but we're doing okay out there.
yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight, Captain Sanchez. I know you guys have been really busy, so we appreciate getting some updates as much as we can. But,
No
and
problem.
I've lived here for many years, 58 years now, and I love the Berryessa area. So I want to make sure my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids now are able to walk and have a good time. And so far, I feel safe. But we always have some incident that scares us all. So I'm going to move on to. Is there anybody here? Thank you again tonight for being
Welcome.
here. And is anybody here from the Sheriff's Department? couldn't tell. Yeah. They were supposed to assign somebody to come to the meeting, so I haven't heard anything. Is Captain Christian Oliver here from Highway Patrol? Yes, no, maybe so. Captain Oliver, are you here? No? Yeah, okay, then I'll talk to them tomorrow. All right. So let's move on since we don't have a guest speaker. We can go right on into the elected officials. And for Assembly Speaker Alex Lee, Tim Orozco is here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim. I'm with Assemblymember Alex Lee's office. First of all, let me just start out by saying we have an event that you are all invited to, and it is our emergency preparedness workshop event on Saturday, October 28th from 11 to 1 o'clock on that day. And it's going to be up in Sunol, but I encourage you to go up to Sunol for this event. You're going to get a lot of good information. And plus there's a vineyard there. I don't know if you know it. I've been Elliston Vineyards, and it's open till 4 o'clock, and it's a great place to have a glass of wine after the event. But the event is an important one. We have invited speakers from CAL FIRE, CAL OES, that's the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. We have the Red Cross coming, and it's co-hosted with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office of Emergency Services. So they'll be in attendance, and it'll be a great event. It'll share a lot of information that you need to know to prepare yourself for fires, floods, earthquakes, etc. So come join us Saturday, October 28th at 11 o'clock in Sunol at the Sunol Glen School in the auditorium. All right, with that said, the governor has until October 14th to sign bills. He has vetoed some bills. I'm sure you heard on the news some of the bills he has signed. When it comes to Assemblymember Lee, he signed a couple of bills. One is, yes, Mr. Dick Santos, the governor did sign AB 835, which is the single stairway reform bill. And I had mentioned to Dick that this bill basically will direct the state fire marshal to conduct a study and do some research to see if it's feasible and safe to create single staircases in multi-family residential units up above 3 stories high. So currently you could have single stairways in buildings up to 3 stories, but not beyond 3 stories. And now with, we have a lot of fire mitigation effort, modernization measures like sprinklers and ladders and other things, better fire retardant walls and so forth. So we'll see. So the study will be conducted in the next couple of years, and the fire marshal will come back to the legislature by January 1, 2026. So it's just a study, but this was unanimously approved in both the Assembly and the Senate. The governor signed it. So let's see if we can do this. And part of the effort of doing this is to basically see if we can maybe create some more affordable housing in some of these smaller parcels of land, smaller lots. So that was passed, and the governor signed that. Another one is a food delivery transparency bill. Essentially, the governor signed this bill that will prohibit a listing service like Yelp or Google from posting a phone number under a restaurant that does not go directly to that restaurant. So I don't know if you know, but back during COVID days, Yelp had contracted out with Grubhub. So when you would call a phone number thinking you're calling your favorite restaurant, Jade China, it would go to Grubhub. And then Grubhub would then charge Jade China fees for doing the service, for the referral service in a sense. So this bill will prohibit that. And Yelp has already done away with that policy. They know it's not a good policy. it charges small businesses and so forth. So so this is a good bill. Governor signed it. It's good for business, and and you'll also, as a consumer, you'll the listing services are required to disclose any fees that are being charged on other parties and so you'll know that there are fees being charged as well. So those are two bills that were passed. A couple of bills that are still on his desk are one, the daylighting bill. I think I mentioned this in the past. The daylighting bill will allow more visibility at crosswalks and intersections by restricting cars from parking within 20 feet of a crosswalk or intersection. So this is on the governor's desk. He hasn't signed it yet. You can call in. It's a good bill. It will protect pedestrians, cyclists, and so forth. And so, and I didn't realize it, that my Honda Civic is 15, 16 feet long. So basically it's saying, oh, you can't park one car length, you know, within these zones, crosswalks and intersections. So that's on the governor's desk. It's called daylighting. And there's another bill that's on the governor's desk that would create an environmental justice advisory committee. That committee would be convened by the Department of Pesticide Regulation. And basically it's a committee that would bring together members of those that are disproportionately impacted by pesticides. So we may not be here in San Jose, but out there in the Central Valley, they are. And so it'll make sure that those groups are included in the discussions when it comes to pesticide use. So that's the creation, again, of an Environmental Justice Advisory Committee, and that's on the governor's desk. He has until the 14th. And then the last one I want to mention affects our schools. The bill will allow K through 12 students to take a 1 full day excused absence for religious reasons. Currently, they get 4 hours for religious reasons, but that's not a full day. So this would be a full day. If you want to take off for various, religious holidays like Rosh Hashanah, Ash Wednesday, Eid al-Fitr, Diwali, and so forth. So it's 1 day excused absence for religious retreats. So those 3 bills are still on the governor's desk to be signed, and he has until the 14th. And then that's that. And then we start again. We start anew with the legislative session on January 3rd of next year. So if you have any bill ideas, Ty, throw them at us. let us know. I'll be happy to share with the boss and the team.
I don't want any new bills. I want you to repeal the silly ones you pass.
All right, that's it for me. And so,
Okay, thank you. Is there
Yeah.
anyone here from Autoli's office tonight? I don't think so. Councilman David Cohen, are you with us?
Yes, made it
Oh.
home. So here I am.
Ah, there you go. You made it home.
Yeah. All right. So we'll start with the item that Captain Sanchez was focused on most, the incident at Penitentiary Creek Park. We're engaged very much with the police department and understanding what we can do and making sure we have a lot of patrols in the area, making sure that there's extra visibility in the community. And I will say I have a lot of confidence in the police department's investigations units. You know, we had an incident last year near Summerdale where there was that home invasion, and for a little while we didn't know the details about that, but within a couple of weeks the police department pieced it together and were able to make arrests in that case. And we've heard about some other cases from Captain Sanchez. So I'm very optimistic that we'll be able to get more information and make some progress on that case. There was a question about camera registration. We had put it out in our newsletter a couple times, I don't know, 6 months ago. We will send it out. We will send it out again in our newsletter next week so that people who are interested in joining that haven't yet registered their cameras will have the information about how to do that. I was very happy to get the report that after our publicity went out, District 4 had the most registered cameras of any district in the city. So we definitely do have a good network that the police use when they go around and look for information. Last week, we broke ground on 2 new parks, the Mercado and Brazzoni parks over by the new Safeway in the North Flea Market area. Those parks are under construction now and will be open by the end of next spring. I'm very excited about that. A little bad news, although not too bad, but the dog park we've been waiting for is delayed a couple months. We expect to break ground now in December, and the timeline is for the dog park that's going to be along Piedmont Road to open in March of 2024. So we're still on progress to have a park within the next 6 months. Excited about that. We started construction on a walking trail and exercise loop installation at the north part of Alviso Park. So that'll be a good addition to that park, give some more recreation space there. And finally, after years of trying to figure out how to do it, we've removed most of the old buildings at the big space that's supposed to be Agnew's Park. Those old buildings had been an eyesore right next to the new school, and those buildings have been taken down, and they're cleaning up the debris from that cleanup. And hopefully we'll be able to start doing considering what kind of improvements we can make at that park. Commodore Road got some traffic calming, lane reduction to slow down traffic between Cape Colony and Jackson, and along with some new parking spaces for Commodore Park, which was an issue before because people didn't have enough parking to use the park there. We're doing our pumpkin giveaway for the students of Berryessa on next Wednesday, October 18th at the old Berryessa district office in the early evening. And we're scheduling our next district litter cleanup on Saturday, October 28th. The details will come out in our newsletter in the next week or two, so you can join us if you want to help clean up some litter in the community. I'm excited about 2 grants the city received in the last month. One is a retail theft grant that came from federal government to help jurisdictions try to find out who's behind the rings of retail theft that are happening. There's a lot, and we hear a lot about the retail theft, but a lot of this is led by ringleaders above the people who are actually committing the crimes. And the police department now will have several $1 million to build a task force to go after these rings for retail theft. In addition, the city got about $6 million for trees and environmental cleanup. One of the portion of that money, about $1 million, will go toward Alum Rock Park to clean up vegetation and deal with fire suppression in that area. And then the last thing, I want to thank many of you who supported the project that we're doing with VTA to build interim housing up in North San Jose. We got that approved last Thursday at the VTA meeting. It was very exciting to see unanimous vote for us to be able to build 200 units of interim housing that will be paid for by the state of California. That will be a very large site that will help us make a dent in unhoused population in North San Jose. Almost all of the other sites had been south, and since the sites first try to place people from the area where the sites are located, we weren't getting many of the people in North San Jose placed into interim housing, but now we'll be able to do that when those sites open sometime, hopefully early in 2024. So that's my report. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, Linda, I have a question for David.
Okay, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, because I had my hand up before for Tim also. Real quick, I'll go to
sorry.
Tim just to leave off. The governor only provided about $100 million for recycling water, and that is nothing. So I know that Assembly Member Lee is working real hard, and I hope, Tim, that you can get more emphasis on that to increase that budget. It's nothing, because the future we're going to be without water, and we need recycling. So with that, David, are you aware in Alviso Park there's somebody out there again taking a grader or whatever they're doing, the same one where we had that criminal guy out there doing the same thing? They're back. It's either the city or someone else, could be the same person, that are taking Trinity Park, which is Alviso Park, and they're plowing over it and trying to clean it up or whatever it looks. Also, someone went over there and cut a whole bunch of trees, valuable trees, along Wilson Way there by the firehouse. And so several people have called me and I didn't have the answer. And so I hope you can take a look at that. And they just got through moving all kinds of what you call unhoused trailers on Wilson Way next to the firehouse, because that part is being cleaned up. I hope it's not to put the end house on it, because that's supposed to be a park 55
Yeah.
years ago.
Well, that's the
So-
park I was talking about. The city is starting its improvement work on building a trail and exercise equipment in that Trinity Park area.
Okay,
So
great.
the city has been doing some grading work in order to then put the paved trail in that'll be the loop, and there's going to be about 30 or 40 trees planted around the perimeter of the park as part of that project. It's all going to be done in the next 3 to 5 months. And so what you're seeing is the beginning of that work.
That's good news. And make sure you know that there's about 10 trailers there now on the Wilson.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, don't see any more hands up. So, thanks,
This is
David.
Mary Larson. I don't have my hand, my face up. Where again are the 200 homes going?
Those are going on VTA property in North San Jose along Zanker Road, north of Tasman. So there's a large, VTA has about 20 acres of undeveloped property up there, and we're renting about 7 acres of that, 7 acres of that 17 or 20 acres to put the interim housing there, and the state is paying for the installation and production of those units.
So if you're leasing that from VTA or are buying it from them?
No, VTA owns the property. They will continue to own the property. The terms of the lease are not yet worked out. We're hoping that the FTA, which has some interest in the property, will waive the requirement that they have to charge us fair market value for that property. So we might be able to lease it for $1 a year. But the nice thing is that in the action that was taken, VTA has agreed.
Hey, Anita，
if we pay
你
market
好，
rate,
怎么样？哎，对对对对，我很
if they pay, if the city has to pay market rate, somebody needs to mute.
You need to mute Elizabeth.
Yeah, if the city has to pay market rate, VTA has agreed that they will put that money back into the operation of the site. So it might not really matter how much we rent it for.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, Lorraine. Lorraine again. Okay. I know it's not Lorraine, so go ahead.
She gives me lots of ideas, but usually elects me to do the talking. Anyhow, just two things, David. The first one is kind of well, not kind of, it's definitely a kudo. I gotta say, every time I read in the Mercury about the council wrestling with a significant issue, you seem to be front and center. And just to tell you that we're noticing that, and we're really appreciating that we've got a councilman who gets in there and rolls up his sleeves and wrestles with these things. Seems like almost continuously. The second one is just kind of a rinky-dink thing, but just a little bit annoying. If you go to the website for Allen Rock Park, you would think for all the world that it was totally business as usual up there. But as of 2 weeks ago, anyhow, you still were not allowed to drive past the entrance kiosk. And I'm just wondering is there any entity that is responsible for keeping that website actually current with what the conditions are at the park, or is it just sort of a poor neglected cousin that floats along?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kudos. I try to be involved in bringing the council together on issues and work with the mayor and everybody to improve things in our community. No issues too small. Thank you for calling attention to the website not being updated for the park. I'll let the Parks Department know this week and see who's responsible for that site. Since you brought it up, I anxiously await updates every month when we meet with them about what's being done to try to get that road reopened. There's an engineering analysis being done this fall by road safety folks to determine whether one lane can be opened or not, whether the road was so undermined that it would be unsafe to open one lane. My hope and suspicion is that they will say it is safe enough to open one lane. And then once they do that, the city's working on a plan to figure out how to allow one-way traffic with some kind of stop signals on each end so that we can reopen that road. And so I'm hopeful that by the end of the year, we'll have a plan for that. It's unfortunately takes a long time, but it's a major safety issue to make sure that the road will hold up if cars are allowed to go there. And then the other question is, once you allow vehicle traffic and you get a backup, how will emergency vehicles get through if they're needed to get through? So all that is being worked out. But thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, David, thank you for showing up tonight. We appreciate it. I know you're busy. We see that you're all over the place all the time. So we certainly appreciate your stopping in tonight. Yes. All right. Let's see. Oh, Richard Santos, you are up, sir.
Yes, hi Linda, and hi to everybody. This is very informative tonight, very good. We continue, we just got through being a ceremony down in Gilroy at the Scraw plant, the treatment plant. We put in 3.5 miles of recycling water to make sure that South County has water, because most of those folks down there, 99 point something, live off wells. So it's a really tough challenge when we're down there, and it was a lot of money spent, and we got some grants or whatever have you, and we got the partnerships, and it's working well. Speaking of recycling, went to the purification plant. The mayor requested a tour. I was able to sit down with him and have a good hour and a half tour. Very educational. I really appreciate his support. And then I won't speak all night tonight because we have a lot of stuff on the plate. Rebates are going good. We hope to have a wet winter, but meantime, yes, water conservation is a way of life. But going back to Council Member Cohen, I don't think he's getting enough credit because maybe he doesn't want the credit, but I can tell you I'm very appreciative because Ty gave us those emergency meetings or the last minute meetings with the mayor who's supporting the VTA, which I was able to join and support that. And I'll tell you why. It's not in the Bob Groves ponds, which is good. That's number one. And number two is that does several things out there. If you don't know, on the frontage road by Coyote Creek across from VTA, there's like a village, and it's bad. It's this organized trash, fires. They go into the Coyote Creek. It's bad. Trailers all over the place. And the PD doesn't do much out there at all if they're lucky to do a doggone thing for whatever reason. But what the Councilman Cohen is able to do, many of those folks will not have a place to cross the street with VTA. And the good thing, the schools are not close by. There's no big and huge residential. So I really believe it's 2 for 1. It's a great thing, and it helps keeps those rivers cleaner and also helps with potential flood. To keep folks and obstructions out of that river is beneficial. So I really appreciate that, and I hope that everybody will realize what a great benefit that is. And they'll have a better, in terms of having better resources and transportation, closer to places to go for medical, along with food and whatever have you. So it's a win-win situation. And I hope that later on, a year from today, when we look back at it, I hope that's let's say an experiment to do more, and hope to get folks out of the creeks and out of the streets. It's a challenge, and in our case too, it's continually overwhelming us in the rivers, and it's sad. But the funding is, our budgets are tripling, but we do the best we can. We never stop. Even though we go in the creeks, we do 100 yards, come back the next day. We care, we still do the job. So with that, thank you all.
Thank you, Dick. Any questions? Okay. Don't see any. All right. That I can see very well, but right. Various Union School District Superintendent Dr. Roxanne Fuentes.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Just a few announcements. First, I do want to do a celebratory shout out to one of our teachers, Michelle Westies, who teaches science over at Sierramont Middle School. This past month, she was recognized by RAFT as STEAM Teacher of the Year. So really excited to celebrate her. She's a fantastic science teacher, does lots of hands-on activities with her students, and utilizes many of the resources at RAFT. So it was a well-deserved recognition. She's been in our district for 30 plus years, so has really been quite a dedicated teacher. Also, I wanted to share, I know we had Captain Sanchez, we're talking a little bit about traffic. We know that traffic around our schools is always a concern for us as well as our neighbors. And we've launched 2 initiatives. The first is we are a district partner with the Walk and Roll program. We encourage walking to school at minimum every Wednesday. But we're also getting ready to launch an additional campaign, which we'll be launching this month in partnership with the city of San Jose, and it's the Slow Down campaign. So you may have already seen some lawn signs around our schools encouraging everyone to slow down. We're going to have some banners that are going to be placed at the school sites. We are doing a lot of increased communication with our parents, reminding them of the road rules to follow, and especially when we know we've got children crossing the street, biking home, etc., to just be sure they're adhering to the traffic laws and our safety expectations when they drop off their students to school and when they pick them up. We do lots of monitoring regarding that traffic. It's usually a very short window, but we know it can get extensive when a lot of our schools are along Piedmont Road. So, we want to thank the city for working with us on that campaign. We look forward to launching it next week in full force with our families, and hopefully create a safer, continue to support safe routes to schools. And then lastly, just wanted to share, we have been providing our school district community lots of information regarding our district budget. I know here over the past 2 years, we've talked a lot about enrollment in Berryessa Union School District, knowing that last year we had a significant decline in enrollment as we start to level things out from the results of the pandemic and families being pretty mobile and having to move around quite a bit during this time period. So last school year, we did establish a budget stabilization committee to begin reviewing our revenue as well as our expenditures. And this year, they are tasked with outlining some priorities for our board as recommendations to consider for either opportunities for increasing revenue or for looking at ways that we can reduce our existing cost. So they will be providing those recommendations to the board in the next month or so. Our goal is to have those recommendations built into our budget for the first interim, which is done in December. And we do know that based on rising cost as well as the decline in student enrollment, which is how we get funded by the state to support our schools, we are currently looking at about at most $6 million that we need to reduce over the next 3 years. So that's kind of on the top end. It's pretty significant. So we're taking a look right now at examining all of our programs and services, so we can provide recommendations for the board to make some decisions on what that may look like for us in the future. Thank you.
I worked with Michelle Eustace years ago, obviously now, but and I know she's a great teacher. She's so thorough, wants to make sure the kids learn whatever it is she's teaching. I'm telling you, she's really good. I'll have to go by there and congratulate her. Thanks for letting us know.
She was so surprised, and we'll be featuring her on our October newsletter this week. So,
great. Yeah, very good. Thank you. All right. Lilia Hancock is not here, I don't think. I've looked a couple of times, but I don't see her. So she's on the citywide seniors commission, I should say. And I'm surprised she's not here. So something must be up. All right. And Stephen No is here. He's going to talk to us for a few minutes anyway from Mayor Mahan's office. Stephen?
Thank you very much, Linda. I'll be brief. So I just wanted to echo everyone's praise of Councilmember Cohen, and really thank everyone who was able to make the call last week with Mayor Mahan to kind of get to know more about the VTA site, the 200 units and the location and everything. Really appreciate folks who were able to write in, who were able to call, all that, just because we were able to get that passed unanimously. And I know that Councilmember Cohen himself also came for public comment, so that is very much appreciated. And we're really excited to see this moving forward. Details to come. There's going to be more news as the months go on. Coming up this Saturday, October 14th, we'll be having our Neighborhood Leaders Conference. This will connect folks from different neighborhood associations with city resources, city staff, and you'll get to meet other folks within from other districts. So if you're part of the BCAC, other neighborhood organizations, we encourage you to come to meet your peers and get connected to different city folks to get to know how you can really stay connected with the city and build up your neighborhood association. And come next Saturday, October 21st, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at San Jose City College. Everyone is invited, and if you have family and friends, they're invited as well to come to the mayor's very first State of the City. You'll get you'll hear him speak on how we've been doing and what his plans are moving forward, and it'll be exciting. We really want folks to come out, see that. It's free. Just let me know. I can put my email in the chat just so everyone knows how they can RSVP and all that. But yeah, everyone's invited. Come out to hear Mayor speak on how things are going. And that's all I have to update folks on.
Well, BCAC will be attending your meeting on Saturday, the 14th. So Sharon Root and myself will be attending. Even though it's early morning, I'm not a morning person, but anyway, we'll be there. Thanks for speaking to us tonight. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you, Linda.
Yep. Anything else? Any other official that I didn't see, didn't recognize, didn't write down? Okay, don't see nobody speaking up. Okay. All right. So Ty, do you want to give us an update on the park?
Yeah, I'm going to take a
Oh my
little
goodness.
introductory aside, and thanks, Stephen. I will also be attending the neighborhood conference as both BCAC and UNSCC representative in that endeavor.
Oh, great.
And
Okay.
so well done on that. Let me talk a minute about the pond restoration. We have been in communication now with the leadership of the Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services, and their challenge was finding a project leader for this. They have identified Albert Gomez to be that individual. I have not been successful in reaching out and connecting with him, but we do have a quote for how much it will take to pour the concrete footer. We have the bench, it's in my garage. So we can move quickly once we have the park team on board. I'm reaching out to Albert. I'll just restart that process tomorrow after Columbus Day and encourage him to get in touch with me so I can join him on a site visit and answer whatever questions he might have so that he understands what we're up to. The process has been frustrating, but it's going to be a nice addition to the pond. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is that the UNSCC, of which I'm a member, has been working with the city of San Jose on deploying what are called Grant Cycle 5, Beautify San Jose Cycle 5 grant monies to the neighborhood associations. There's 76 of them that got awards, but that money has been trickling out. They've been giving us release authority, a few neighborhood associations at a time. And there has been pushback from many of the neighborhood associations saying that the 31st of December deadline is going to frustrate their effort to execute all those monies. So there is a discussion right now in the city of San Jose to extend the Cycle 5 deadline, which would help us with our installation on the pond and maybe give us additional runway. But my inclination is to try to press forward because it won't be long before the rain cycle starts again, and pouring concrete footers into sodden earth is going to be problematic. Now, I continue to push on the team to try to make sure that they're working with us, and I will try to be respectfully painful for them. So that's my report. Anyone have questions that I can answer?
Lorraine has her hand up. Oh,
yes,
no,
Lorraine.
again. Not Lorraine. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, it's
What's
not
your
Lorraine.
first name? So I keep calling you.
Ty,
Yes,
just
not Lorraine. Okay, go ahead.
two observations about the pond. Is there anything in works at all about the reconditioning or replacing or doing something with the fence, the broken out sections? Kind of an eyesore in a number of places.
Yes, that when we originally started looking at beautifying the pond, that was one of the things we were aspirationally directed toward is, let's get that fence fixed. Unfortunately, the kind of grant money that we can generate as a neighborhood association won't touch the amount of money necessary to revitalize that fence. But it is obviously something that I want to continue to converse, to point the Parks and Recreation Service at. An additional problem, and I don't know how this quite works out. Richard could add perhaps something there, but I believe there's a tripartite agreement on that pond. The Santa Clara Valley Water District is responsible when they have enough water to provide water for that pond, and is of course conditional on availability. Water's precious in our area. And there's also county involvement and city involvement because it's in a floodplain. And so there are a lot of pieces to the puzzle, Mr. Fitch, about getting that done. But you're right, that is a principal focus.
Okay, and the other one is just sort of kind of a curiosity, I guess. The pond that's about halfway down Helmsley Drive, going down toward Capitol, a while back when it got drained, which it frequently is, people came in there and boy, they cleaned that thing out. They had it absolutely squeaky clean before it was refilled with water. The one in our park here has, a lot of tree branches, crud, bottles, cans, garbage of different descriptions. And it seems to go through cycles of draining and refilling with no effort whatsoever to clean the bloody thing out. And I'm just wondering what the distinction is in the way these things are managed, that we can't get that pond sort of
It's really revolting.
spruced up when it is empty. Do you know anything about that?
I do not for that particular aspect of the pond. I can ask around and see what I can do to get information for the association and for you about who controls that puppy and who can raise their hand and get things done.
It really, when they drained it, when it was drained for the first time, there was this white scum all over it. And they filled in with water over the white scum. I mean, it was really horrible looking. I can't imagine what it caused it, but it was everywhere around that pond. And yet they still filled it with water.
Before cleaning.
Yeah, they never cleaned it. I mean, it was not just branches, there was scum everywhere.
Turning over the bottom, or I would think even an exercise like that would actually enhance the ability of the pond to drain into the aquifer when that's the water company's strategy. But anyhow, just
Just so you know, it's very, very, very dirty.
observation.
Yeah, I think Stephen's still on the call. I can see his name up. So as the representative with the, District 4, David Cohen's office, he could be a good ally to have in the conversation around this. I know that I don't know that pond in Penitencia Creek is part of the groundwater recharge system. I know that the ponds that are further to the east, the
Yeah, where they
They
were going
are.
to do the tiny homes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
we-
are part of the groundwater recharge system. for
Okay.
the LA
Okay.
Water
Yeah,
District.
those were clean. They
Yeah,
were
those are
better.
definitely better maintained as far as
Well, I
stuff
think
that's in them.
part of that is because the Santa Clara Valley Water District has larger sway of what goes on there. And so they can act with a level of authority that may not be possible in some of these where they have to get agreement across a number of parties. But I'll work with Stephen and maybe with Richard and see what I can come up with for some answer for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we've been just beginning some conversations with the Parks Department for San Jose about the entire park and all the space there and the maintenance at that park, and we'll add the conversation about who's the jurisdictional question of cleanup at that park. In theory, the next time the pond is drained, there's an opportunity to go in and do some kind of community cleanup event or something to clean it up, but we have to find out who's allowed access to that pond.
Hey,
Linda, this
I
is
go-
Dick Santos
Yeah,
from Tide.
go
All
ahead,
you gotta
Dick.
do, Ty, is call. When the water district has the responsibility, we take care of business. The county and city has never been good stewards of those parks. But here's the deal, whether we're responsible or not, I'm here to help. You give me a call, I'll use the influence, whatever I can. If we have a budget money, I'll always give it a go.
Thank you, Richard.
Nothing easy about doing any of the projects that we are working on. There's no one phone call to make. It's a half a dozen phone calls, or I'll call you back, or we'll see you in a month, or whatever, or the people change. And so there's just lots of things going on, but it's nice that people are concerned about those parks. They're really important for all of us to enjoy. So we appreciate your asking and being concerned about it also. Okay. The announcements I have, our next general membership meeting will be held at the community center on November 13th. We have invited the Community Emergency Response Team, which is called CERT for short, and they will address what can be done to better prepare for eventual disasters that live within our area here that we would anticipate. So it should be interesting, and we're always concerned about how we can do things better and make things safer. So that's one announcement. The other announcement is that our BCAC board will meet next week at the BUSD office building, the new one, at 6:30. And Jamal, I saw that you were there somewhere. So thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it. All right. Anything else for the good of the cause? My Raiders won, even though I had to be in here. Hey. So I thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
Could I inject one quick item? With the year coming to a close pretty soon, we're going to be going through nominations for board membership for the BCAC.
I was going to bring that up next week, but that's
And
okay.
I would encourage all of them who are on the call to think about what it would mean to participate and provide your expertise and inputs into how the projects we take on, the things that we do, and help us be as effective as we know how to both grow as an organization and grow as membership.
We'll be looking for people that are interested in running for a place on the board. So
Linda, is there a December 11th meeting? I forget about December. Is there a meeting then?
yeah, we meet in December. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Hey, good night. You got your early Christmas present. Huh? What? I know the Raiders won. I just got up and asked Roger. I said, "What happened? What happened?" Because they would, yeah, because Garoppolo looked pretty good, but boy, in the beginning he was getting sacked. Like the first half, first quarter, he got sacked like 4 times. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's goofy. So.
What did they say? There was Greece